WEFM, the new fresh sound. WhatsApp us or call us at 457-9997. Activated Mornings on WEFM 99.9 is on now.
And we're back with another segment of Activated Mornings program here on WEFM. And this time, we are going to get commentary from Dr. Gerald Thompson. Doc, over to you.
Yes. And, I want to go along with what Josh was raising this morning. I want to talk about Carnival. Josh, don't take that the wrong way. But, it's so sad that Christmas finishes, we stop talking about Christmas. Carnival finishes, we stop talking about Carnival. I'm curious why. But there's a topic in the Vincentian newspaper. There was something. It looks like even on the front page, Jouvert Fanatics done with that.
Yeah, I saw that.
I recall that I used to be a member of Arnesville Cultural and Sports Club. I used to be their PRO. But just prior to that, a group of us, enlightened by Carnival culture, wanted to start up a new Jouvert theme. In those days, John Horn, who's former Minister of Education, he wasn't Minister of Education, I don't know if he was Minister of Education at the time, but he essentially had a grouping that used to win the Jouvert presentation competition. And we decided to challenge him. And we did a fierce competition. In the fierce competition, we came in second. But soon after that, the John Horn group, which was a much older grouping, phased out. And we were initially called Scope. And eventually, Arnesville Cultural and Sports Club took it over. Maka and others and so forth. And basically, we've continued it for a while. But so I have lamented the fact that over the last number of years, it seems as if Jouvert, that presentation, traditional Jouvert has been on decline. And so I was very disappointed to see Jouvert Fanatics, which expresses that they've been the only band doing this for the last 3 years. They've called it quits. They're done with that. And I'm not sure if it is that, like with the John Horn grouping, persons got it older and so forth, and they are no longer interested. But they're the ones who really should carry on this tradition and see how with discussion they could bring in younger groupings, as we had done back in that day. Now, it would seem as if the preparation for Jouvert really wasn't there. And I think that's a bit disappointing, right? I'm not sure what, and it seemed also that there was a thinking of adopting what Grenada has in terms of jab, and that a number of persons participated in that. That part seemed to have been relatively successful, but our traditional Jouvert may have come to an end. And I would really want to make an appeal that that's not the case. And that we see throughout our society, matter of fact, you see throughout the world, you go to various places. I've had an opportunity to go to many places, and you see traditional things really being phased out. Popular, modern art forms have taken over, and they're crowding out because younger persons may see something as being something of the past, something that they're not interested, something they don't understand. And I am saddened by this, and I think that another look may need to be taken. Now, how do you do this without the traditional Jouvert participants participating and them calling quits? So I see it has been a tough ordeal, but I'm not getting into the mechanics of the preparation, what they say this was missing, a stage was missing, and that, and all the sort of things. And so I really think that it's really unfortunate, and it's a warning that comes that there are various aspects of our society that are traditional in their nature, and that we should strive and serve to really say, steel pan, not steel pan, limbo. When was the last time you saw a limbo?
I don't remember when the last time I did a limbo.
Yeah. Well, but I tell you something, and there are various other things. I mean, jab is jab. They used to have boozy back and other things like that. People, when you mention these
monkey
things,
band, right?
Monkey band. The people wouldn't know what these things are, and they'd be just written in some footnote in history because space is limited, time is limited, and just like my time here is quite limited. I wanted to raise this, so I apologize to Joshua. That I am still continuing the discussion on Carnival. I want to see that discussion continued so that we can strive to improve it and retain our culture throughout the year for the next years, for the next Carnival and those after. So that's my commentary.
All right. Just to add to this, but I did speak on this a little before in terms of what we see or what was practiced in the form of tradition before, right? Whether it's Carnival or in other areas. I think it is going to be a challenge because we recognize the things that may have happened or certain things that might have happened in 1929. They're not happening now, right? And it's not everything that you can hold on to because times are changing. People are changing. Persons have different interests. I can totally understand that, right? So whatever it is, I always make reference to sailor band, right? Sailor band was a big thing back in the day in Carnival, and it was portrayed by the older folks. I don't know if sailor band even still around because I don't think, for the last 2 years, I didn't go this year, but the last two carnivals that I went, I haven't seen that on the road.
Roleza, the bands expose quite a bit, and women gravitate. I'm thinking everybody, I'm not going to get hit with this. I'm trying to picture Roleza in one of those costumes, right? One of those skimpy costumes on Carnival, they jump in.
You mean the more modern bands or the traditional?
The more modern bands.
No, if I had to play, I would play in a traditional.
I know, but I'm still trying to picture you in that. Everybody, all listeners and so forth. I'm getting into misogynistic stuff and so forth. But
I'm not going to take it as such. I'm not going to take it as such.
I thought you take me on it.
No.
But you're right. To each their own. And the older folks, because of their body profiles and so forth, may not necessarily fit into these modern costumes as is. You know what I mean?
They could wear something that can.
Yes.
That is body fitting appropriate.
A sailor outfit. I could see it being more appropriate, but that's gone out, as you said.
Right, but no. The point I was going to make is that that has phased out. But let's say if we wanted to involve older folks in the jumping on Tuesday, right? That could be brought back, and that could still help to retain some of the traditional elements of our carnival. Now, of course, it's not going to be in the minority. Same like how I can understand and appreciate monkey band persons participating, but they're not going to be in the Joshua. I saw that comment. Anyhow,
what Joshua say? What Joshua say?
No, I will tell you afterwards.
Yeah, right, okay.
Same as how I can see. Okay, so monkey band. CDC did call for persons to take part in the monkey band, right?
Yeah.
Monkey band was also in the minority if you have to compare it to the other persons who took part in Jouvert that morning. Traditional Jouvert presentations, though they might be in the minority, my thing is that wherever CDC can lend support to these
they should lend it.
These right, these subdivisions of our traditional aspects of carnival lend the support, right?
Yeah.
Even though you're not necessarily going to see an overwhelming amount of persons, overwhelming number of persons participating in them, there are still persons who are out there who are trying to keep it alive. Now, yes, things may die a natural and slow death, but while it is that there are persons who have that interest, then that support should be lent to them. Now, I know from the article, it stated that it had an issue with PA system, the state set up late and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But I mean, the thing of it is that, well, I heard some other things somebody told me some other things, but the point is that this is a part of our carnival. It is something that you know to expect Jouvert morning, the traditional presentations.
Yeah.
When I came to work last Monday, I was there looking for images of the presentations and I did not see any. And then I had to throw it out on air and then persons explained to me. And then I read the article in the Vincentian and, it's further expanded.
And the image of these things is one thing.
Mm-hmm.
Getting somebody to add the explanation, like how Basti Alexander speaks and so forth.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And so was it, I think, important,
right?
To really get it over.
Yeah, right. But the main point that I'm harping on is that while it is that I recognize that some of our traditions in the carnival season might only be taken part in by a minority, wherever CDC can lend their support to those who are showing that interest to keep certain aspects alive, to lend them that support. And really and truly, that's it. That's what I want to say. But I don't really like to see certain things die out, but I do have to recognize that things are going to die a natural death. When I turn 85, I might be telling my great niece, not as a grandchild, my great niece or or nephew, whichever one, if any of them make any children. But anyhow, that these are the things that were practiced long ago. And it's fine for me to look at them with fond memories and let them know. But things can die a natural death, but we don't have to make it, there's a word that I'm looking for, but it starts with P. What's the word? It gone straight out of my head. We don't have to force it then to die that death beforehand, prematurely. Prematurely.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
All right.
That's right. Yeah, it's unfortunate. I'm hoping that these things can be resurrected. They're part of what is being Vincentian, and who determines that? Who determines that a policy or a trend that's coming out of the United States should be ours, and we should adopt that because that's a natural trend, and that has the push, the promotion, the social media push, and so forth. I don't know. I think it's a tough thing. You've hit the nail on the head, even though it's small, and so that there needs to be that continued effort.
Yeah. All righty. All right, good folks. We are going to bring this segment to an end. Remember that about around 9:25, we will have our Talk to Us, and it will be our open forum. All right. So if you want to be interactive with us regarding anything that we discussed earlier this morning, you didn't get to lend your voice or your opinion, the phone lines will be open at that time around 9:25. We are going to head on out right about now.
Nothing else sounds as good as